Hey everybody, what's going on? Dace here, and today we're going to be taking a look at Mayflash's latest arcade stick, the F700. So just a quick story, I wasn't even planning on getting a new stick or anything. I had no idea this was out, but I saw something online where it was like, oh, Mayflash F700 for PS5, and I was like, oh man, as if like PS5 gets a new Mayflash stick. And I just assumed based on like the promotional image that I saw that it wasn't for anything else. But then later I checked on Amazon and it was like for 15 different systems or platforms. So I was really intrigued to check it out, see how it compares to some of the other stuff I have. Specifically in this video, we're going to be comparing it to the Mayflash F500, which I have at the side here. Now I do have the Elite version, so it's not the most fair to compare something with like the Sanwa components to something that is the non-elite version of the F700. That being said, they are planning to release an elite version of this one. I'm not sure if that's going to be this year or when, but that is in the works apparently. What really sealed the deal for me was the fact that I had a pretty sizable gift card from like a bunch of the girls at work pooled some funds, and so when I saw this on Amazon and I had that available, I was like, you know what, perfect opportunity to jump in and share my thoughts and all that great stuff. So without further ado, let's get it right into this. I do want to take just a quick second or two to just touch on the presentation. We're going to compare the two boxes. So this is the old box of the F500 Elite. I really feel like Mayflash has like upped their quality. So like everything here on the old box looks pretty bland, unappealing, uninspiring. And then on the back, you have like the information, like, yeah, like button layout, like just diagrams and stuff, but everything is like very small and very like pale. Like you're not really gonna read too much just at a glance. Whereas the new box for the F700 is just like, boom, it's sharp, it's crisp, it's right in your face, it's looking really awesome. So I really like when companies do that. Like, yeah, this is gonna be like really close to the camera, but like, yeah, like you can see the side panel has like the nice art, and then on the back you have all sorts of information, and the image here is like huge, so it's easier to just make sense of things right away without needing to like get out the magnifying glass and whatnot. So yeah, that's really cool. I just wanted to mention that. So one thing you'll notice right away if you're familiar with Mayflash sticks previously is that this dial in the top right corner is a new feature. So this is your system dial. So you have like Android, Switch, X input, D input, Apple, Retro, PS3, 4, 5. There's a nice click to each of these, of course. Really nice. So I'll just leave mine on Switch since that's what I use. So I want to show just a quick comparison. The F700 is slightly larger than the F500. As you can see here, we have a little more length here, and then also the height or the width, I suppose, is definitely more on this guy too. As for the weight comparison between the two, this is about 2.69 kilograms compared to the F500's 2.4 kilograms. So we'll just quickly go over what else is on the front here. Of course, we have like our two switches for LSDP, RS, and then there are three connection types for here. You have 2.4G, USB, and Bluetooth, okay? So you use your sync button for some of that stuff. And then, of course, you have a turbo button, share / select / create button here, capture and T-pad, home, and your options, plus, and start. And as you can see here, we have like the 6 magnets for the plexi. So as of right now, I reached out to Focus Attack to see if they were planning on doing like a template, because I'm not sure who else actually does that kind of stuff. I'm sure there are other companies that maybe do custom prints and whatnot, but I'm just not aware. But anyway, I do know that Focus Attack is not doing one yet, but there is that potential if you want to do it yourself or you know another company. Focus Attack did say that if there's enough interest, then they're gonna, of course, do one, but that'll probably be down the road. But it's nice to at least have that potential here. So we'll just go over system compatibility, and then we're going to jump inside the machine itself. So yeah, the compatibility is pretty off the charts. Like I said, you have PS3, 4, 5, Switch, Windows, Mac OS, iOS, iPad OS, Android, Sega Mega Drive, Genesis Mini, Astro City Mini, Neo Geo Mini, Neo Geo Arcade Stick Pro, Raspberry Pi, and Steam Deck. So that's like a pretty robust list right there. That being said, some systems will not work with all of the different connection types that you have at your disposal, but on the, let me just grab this here. It's probably in the manual too, but for quick access, they do have a chart like right on the back. That's probably like super blurry. I'm not able to get this box low enough, but it is on the back. So the other really cool thing, when you open up the side panel, you have your little receiver here. So this is for the 2.4G, and it has a really satisfying, I'll just like bring it a little closer. When you like slide it in, it's not that it clicks in, but there's just like this nice resistance, and it just sits in there tucked in nicely, and I really like that. And then of course you have your USB cord in there too. And last but not least, for the outside, you have like a mic button here, like for muting, and then a headset jack. So let's take a look at the insides now. Okay, so one thing that I noticed immediately when I opened this guy up is that, first off, everything is just super tidy and organized compared to the F500, and you have one less circuit board. So what they did here, whereas in the Mayflash F500 you have 4 boards, and this one is technically like pretty massive. Like you have 4 small ones in the F500, and here you have these 2 small ones and then a big one. But what they've done is they've arranged things in such a way so that you don't have as much stuff crisscrossing all over the place, like wires and whatnot. So let's take a look at this one. So right off the bat, like you can see, like you got, and like ignore the twist ties, that was for something else that I was doing like months ago. But yeah, like you got stuff like running from here all the way over here, like over these normally, or vice versa, like if these are over and under, like who knows. And then you have like stuff coming from here all the way down here, and then like it's a bit of a mess, to be honest. Whereas if you look at these side by side, or as much as we can see together, like this one, this guy's coming back here, so it's not getting in the way like some of this other stuff, and like it's just, you can see, like I can see a very clear difference. Like, so I'm kind of impressed by just how they've cleaned that up a little bit. So one thing that is sort of interior and exterior, which I could have mentioned earlier, was that since this is not like an elite version, the buttons and the stick are of course just like Mayflash brands. So I've heard some people say that like these are pretty much clones of Sanwa components, but, and you know, in ways like I feel maybe the buttons kind of have a bit of that feeling to them. The joystick itself it's like a night and day difference between the Sanwa JLF. So one thing that may be a deal breaker for some people is if you're not into fastener type sticks. That's how this one is mounted. It's not the PCB type, so you don't have like a 5-pin connection or whatever. You have all these like soldered, so that like if you don't have the gear to remove that stuff, you would need to invest in that, or go to a friend's who has that kind of stuff, or have someone else do it, or whatever the case is. But that's one thing I noticed right away too, is just that kind of changes things up a little bit. I'm not sure what the F101 is like. It's been ages since I opened that one up. But of course, this one is the PCB type. So that kind of like simplifies things for me anyway. And of course, like there are probably workarounds and whatnot, but yeah, that's just what it is. So I won't open this up because it's not super necessary, but in here you do have a 1000 milliampere battery. And on the outside, you do have like a charge indicator. I think it's like, there's a little light somewhere. It might be like by the home button or something, which has different, I think, blinking sequences, and then like solid color or something to represent just like how much is charged, or if it's fully charged, that sort of thing. Another thing that is interesting is that this is the first arcade stick that I've ever seen which has the restrictor gate screwed down. I've never encountered that, and I'm not really sure if that is so necessary. Like, I don't mind it because it's not often that I'm going to be doing much with that. That being said, it does come with an octagonal gate as well, but of course it has the square just as like the default. So let's pop this guy off and take a look at the micro switches for just a minute. Okay, so these are ones I've never heard of before. It says Lima Electrics. I think they're like a pretty cheap brand by the look and feel, but yeah, who knows. And then like in terms of the actuator, it looks pretty standard to me. So yeah, that's interesting stuff. Yeah, as for all of the connection types, like I've sampled everything, and everything like connects easily and works fine, so like no issues there. In terms of performance, like it plays great. The engage distance feels similar to the same Mitsu LS32 and 40. So you're not going to have that instantaneous engagement like you get on the 56 and 62, for instance. But that's just from like briefly testing and not from any sort of like precise measuring process or anything like that. Just kind of like by feel. When I, like, for those of you who know how I've like talked about the JLF, you'll know that I feel like that stick is extremely loose feeling. This is like 10 times more loose, so much so that it makes the JLF feel like a nice tight stick. It's crazy. That being said, like it works fine, it plays fine, it's not really an issue, but like depending on the game, like the shmup or whatever, that might be something that actually just feels a little too wonky for my taste. But it was wild just seeing that, holy smokes, this is loose. And there is quite a bit of wobble to it there when it's centering or going back to neutral. And unlike the JLF and probably like countless others, like this one is like there's very little resistance. It kind of just like floats forward and like, or whatever direction you're doing. I mean, it's just very loose and floaty. But it still feels fine. It's just, yeah, different from what I'm used to and what I, like you might not really see it because like the camera's up higher, but I'm sure you can see a bit of the wobble there compared to this guy where it just like, boom, like it just nudges right to neutral and it doesn't do anything beyond that. Like, it's crazy. Yeah, I'm not going to focus too much on the buttons. I might have said that at the start. Like, for shmups anyway, it's like half the time you're just holding down and then like hyper mode and then bomb, or at least that's like what I do. If I'm tapping or something, then it's like, okay, cool. Pretty much any button is going to be fine for what I play. So I'm not going to like focus on that too much. So I'm not really going to do any like sound testing or like just like texture and feel. Like, they're smooth, they feel fine. That's pretty much all there is to it. So in closing, I suppose we could talk about the price. At the time that I got the F500 Elite, this was in 2021 when I got this guy, and that was about 333 bucks Canadian, which is pretty steep. Like, it is and it isn't, because it's like, it's a quality stick. You could have the F500 for life and that's fine, so like whatever. But just in relation to how far the price has come down since then, because I just checked yesterday and it was 190 Canadian, so a very, very significant drop in price. This is going for approximately 230 Canadian. So it's certainly up there, but still nowhere near what I paid for the F500 back in 2021. So if you're specifically going for the Sanwa components and you want to also keep the price down but have like a quality stick too, then you could always snag like the F500 Elite. I've never been on the non-Elite version of the F500, but I'm sure it's fine as well. If you don't have an arcade stick yet and you want something that's robust, wireless, possesses a clean, more organized look and feel, then this is a great choice, even though it is a little pricey. Like, not everyone's going to want to spend or need to spend like over $200 just to use a stick for shmups or whatever it is you want to play. Like, you don't have to spend that kind of money. I'm kind of curious how long the F500s are going to remain in circulation. So that's another thing to keep in mind. Like, if you want to snatch an F500 now or whatever, it may be a good idea, because like at some point it's guaranteed that they're going to be phased out. Like, whereas if you're not in a rush to get anything and you're kind of wanting to just like buy one stick and leave it at that, and get all like the perks, like the easy dial and the wireless or whatever, then yeah, cool. This will do the trick. But yeah, that's gonna wrap things up for this video. Let me know what you guys think. Is this a stick that offers you anything that you're looking forward to, like enhance your experience and whatnot? It's certainly not going to be for everyone. I am really enjoying it so far. I love having it as part of my my arsenal, so to speak. It's a really cool stick. I love the look of it. I'm really trusting Focus Attack like gets enough interest generated so that they do a template, because I would love to replace whatever this is for some actual art on the nice black case. Like, it's got like a nice texture. I didn't talk about that before, but yeah, it's got like a nice not gritty, but like it's grainy. Yeah, it's got like a grainy feel to it. So yeah, overall, I'm really impressed with this stick. I think it's great. And yeah, I want to thank everybody for checking this out, and we will see you in the next video. Take care.